even before I tell you the name of the scooter, there's a very good chance that you would already want to get on and ride it, mainly for the way it looks. This is the VLF Mobster, a scooter which has been designed in Italy by an Italian, made in China, and now sold in India via Motohous. It's a new company which was set up in 2024. And I got to admit, they have done a really good job of putting the scooter together. It has a lot of things that are reminiscent of some of the motorcycles that we like, especially the headlights that remind you of the S1000RR. But hey, they've done a pretty good job of putting it all together. Yes, there's also the ADV mark. The website claims that this is a trail scooter. Nah, it's not. Best way to look at this is a sporty scooter, which it is. And yes, it looks really good, especially in this neon yellow color. Has been a proper head turner. And then the other big thing working in its favor is the fact that even though it's only a 125cc scooter, it's liquid cooled, has 4 valves, which helps it pump out 12.1 PS and 11.7 Newton meters of torque, which is good enough for... Look at it go!
2, 1.
Yeah, good enough for a top speed of well over 100 kilometers an hour. That's proper fast for a 125cc scooter. And then there's all the tech to talk about. So this gets traction control. This is the first scooter that I know which gets a rear disc and dual channel ABS. You have backlit switches, you have keyless ignition, you have this nice TFT dash. So yeah, a fast scooter with all the tech that you can think of. But there's a problem. Even though this looks great, this goes fast, chances of you actually going fast on this scooter are far and few. And that's mainly down to one thing. It's suspension. It is horrendous. It is underdamped. It is undersprung to the point where it's really made the scooter horribly unstable. And watch this. Holy shit. Yeah, this entire front end is shuddering every time you get on the brakes hard. It's the same situation at higher speeds. And most definitely in corners, it really robs you of all your confidence. Even though you have pretty chunky tires, you have a 120 section at the front, you have a 130 section tire at the back, you have 12-inch wheels. So, yeah, stability is something which is heavily compromised thanks to a suspension setup. And that's the crazy part, that you don't even get adjustability. So when you have a pillion sitting on the scooter, you are guaranteed to bottom this out because, yeah, it's just really poorly sprung. And that's a crying shame because in terms of the actual braking, the braking is actually pretty good in terms of the feel, in terms of the potency. But yeah, because of the suspension, it's very hard for the scooter to put the power down in a good way. And of course, it leads to the ABS being triggered. Yes, I guess it could have been better if it would have had normal road tires rather than these dual-purpose knobbly ones, which again makes no sense at all considering that the suspension is so bad. There's no way this thing can go up trails. And the second thing, as this is a scooter, we have to talk about its practical bit. And again, that's something where it doesn't score very high. I mean, in terms of the ergonomics, I'm 5'11", I fit on this quite well. It also only weighs 122 kgs, which is great, which is quite easy for anyone to handle. You have a slightly higher, but still quite manageable, I think about 800 mm or slightly less seat height. But the problem is storage. You have very little storage on this. The underseat storage is big enough to maybe perhaps store a half-face helmet, if at all. And the floorboard is not flat. There's this thing protruding out, which again compromises you on whatever it is that you want to carry. You have a small compartment here, which is again a joke considering it's not really big enough to even fit my phone. And to make it worse, there's a small little hole that it comes with, which is big enough for all your knickknacks to fall through. Then we talk about fuel economy. This has probably one of the biggest fuel tanks that I've seen on a scooter. 8-liter fuel tank, which is something which I think is done on purpose considering that this one comes with IVT, which is infinitely variable transmission, which is great from a performance perspective. The problem with that transmission is that even when you're trying to not go very fast, when you are trying to ride conservatively, firstly it is loud, which you don't mind when you're going fast, but in the city it gets kind of loud, and secondly, yeah, you're still revving really high. I'm barely even cracking open the throttle and I'm already at 6,000 RPM, which means the fuel economy is never going to be that good. I think we were getting around 32 to 33 kilometers per liter, and if you're really flogging it, it can also dip down to the high 20s. So that's something to watch out for. Well, one of the biggest deterrents, I think, other than the suspension in the success of the scooter is going to be its price tag. This thing is going to put you back by 1.3 lakhs ex-showroom. Yes, it has quite a few things going for it in terms of the tech, which is never before seen on the scooter. Of course, the engine performance, which is pretty close to what you expect from a 150cc scooter, but I'm sorry, for a brand which no one has heard of, which is still finding its feet, which means there are very limited showrooms, very limited service centers. The reliability is a big question mark. No one really knows about this brand and how it's done before. There's no real history about how to do. That's a very steep price, and the other problem with that kind of pricing is then you start expecting so much more. You expect the scooter to have exceptional plastic quality, exceptional build quality, which is, I'm sorry, just not there. The plastic quality is so flimsy, whether it's the foot pegs, whether it's these panels, it is so flimsy. Almost feel like you're riding on a scooter which is not really designed to last for very long. And a lot of the other things also, like for example, the TFT screen looks pretty good. I quite like the layout, but then when you go inside, look at that. That is horrendous. That looks like so dated, so analog. And again, small things like now to get out of this menu, I have to press this. Okay, this one. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Finally getting somewhere. Exit. Yeah. I don't know who designed it. I don't know how it was approved. I mean, this looks so great, but then I think they just designed this and forgot about it. That's what I mean. If this would have been priced a lot more competitively, maybe in the range of like slightly higher than the existing 125 cc's, this is something which you can easily kind of look away because you're so enamored by the performance and the tech and everything. But at that price point, I'm sorry, these things are just so hard to ignore.
To summarize, the VLF Mobster is undoubtedly one of the best looking scooters that I've come across. It's a proper head turner, looks really good, but there are quite a few pointers which are holding it back. First and foremost, it's definitely the suspension. Even though I love the engine, I love the brakes, the suspension is what really holds it back because it really compromises on the safety and the stability of the scooter. Secondly is the build quality. It's just not up there along with the rest of the scooter in terms of the way it looks and the kind of tech that it packs. But what is hard to digest is of course the price tag of 1.3 lakhs, especially for a brand which is so new to India, which is still finding its feet, doesn't have a very big service network, reliability is a question mark. So I think if VLF would have launched this at a much more competitive price, maybe a little bit higher than the existing 125cc scooters, at least at an introductory price, it could have given it more of a chance to attract customers just for the way it looks, have them take a ride and then really blow them away with the performance and find more takers, people who are willing to take that leap of faith and trust a brand new manufacturer who have just entered the Indian market. But as it stands right now, I think it has a lot of potential if all of these things are addressed. But yeah, I definitely feel should have been priced much better to find more takers.